This is the Post Shift Podcast, a raw look at the hospitality industry.
What's happening, Post Shifters? I know I'm a little late this week. It's been a hectic week. I've sort of started getting the final things done for these two venues that we're working on here in Singapore. My second stint here. I'm going home in 17 days, which means I have a hell of a lot of work to do in the next little while. And I wanted to do a quick video because, well, last week I was in Bangkok. Man, Bangkok's a great city. Pain in the ass to get around to, but once you actually get into the bars, Q&A, Vespa, 1919, all money bars, Bamboo Bar, all money bars. Like really, I was just blown away with how good the cocktail culture was in Bangkok. And I went to an event to launch Widger's Gin from Proofing Company here in Singapore, and just the turnout from the bartenders was incredible. It's out at scene, 24th floor, overlooking the river, absolutely beautiful scenery. But Bangkok I want to go back to pretty badly next time I'm here in Singapore, which will be in December. I want to let you know that my book, Great Northern Cocktails, is about to come out. I'll be posting some links with that to pre-order very shortly. But I posted on Facebook, which is probably my number one responded to Facebook post in the last 4 years, is how did you get into bartending? And so I'm going to post a link to that post on my personal Facebook, so you can have a look at all the people, because I think young bartenders today think that you're going to get a job straight up in a hardcore cocktail bar, and it's going to be Manhattans and old fashions till the cows come home. But if you really look at a lot of the top industry people in this world and see where they started, what jobs they had to start with, you're going to see that you have to sort of build your way up. And I've talked about this with patience and career paths and all that sort of stuff. But I want to tell you my story about how I got into bartending. So I was the eldest of 6. I grew up in a big family. I started working full-time while I was in school at 13 and a half with the family landscaping business. I worked 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week on top of going to school full-time. When I left school, I got a full scholarship off to university to do a psychology degree, which I turned down. I never regret that. And I left home and I went and got a job in a hotel. So with my landscaping background, I got a job as a junior handyman in a hotel, and as a junior handyman, I had to do gardening and clean windows and all that sort of stuff. And one night, someone was like, "Hey, have you got black and whites?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've got black and whites. I got them at home." And he's like, "Okay, well, can you go home and get them and come back for 6 o'clock and do a wedding?" And I was like, "Cool." So I went and did a wedding and had a great time. Got some great great feedback from the guests about whatever I did. I think I danced with one of the bridesmaids, which the food and beverage director did not like at the time, but the party said it was amazing. And then they asked me if I wanted to bartend late nights, and so I started bartending. And I remember the very first time someone asked me for a gin martini, I literally shut the bed and ran out of the bar. And then over the next 5 to 6 years, I worked places for 3 to 6 months, got everything I could get out of them, moved to the next one. And it's okay to jump around jobs, and as long as you got a good reason for it, if you didn't get fired or quit or anything like that. And this is the late 90s, early 2000s, so pre-internet, and slowly but surely, I think I got my first management job at 24, but I started in the kitchen. I was cooking breakfast in the morning, dishwashing, then doing maintenance, and then bartending at night, and I was working 20 hours a day for months and months and months and months. Slept at the hotel most of the time. And so it shows you, it wasn't until I left Australia in 2006 and moved to Canada that my career really took off in my bartending career. Worked at Moxie's, Clive's, so on and so forth. So I've been in the industry for almost 10 years before anything really big had happened to me. And so I'm going to post the link underneath this conversation to Facebook, and I'm going to post it on the thing. So when it comes to how you get into bartending, really look back at the old guys, because a lot of them didn't have great jobs in the beginning and they worked their way up. Working your way up and being patient and putting your time in and learning as much as you can, learning on the job, especially when you don't have something like the internet or smartphones, is something you really need to focus on. And I think it's something that can be applied to today at the very best of days. You need to take your time and be patient and work your way up. You're not going to go from making Shirley Temples to Manhattans and one of the world's best cocktail bars in a space of 18 months. It's progression and steps and steps and steps. But anyway, guys, I'm going to post that. Sorry I'm a little bit late, but this Friday is Paul Clark from Imbibe. Wicked podcasted in Toronto Cocktail Conference, to take a listen. I'm going to be at Toronto Cocktail Week in October. then Montreal for a little bit, and I'm taking 4 or 5 weeks off with the family and just enjoying being back in Victoria for the first time in like 5 months. So have a good week, guys. Thank you very much for the support. I'll chat to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Post Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. If you're listening, whatever platform you're on, give me a good rating, subscribe, listen along. I'm going to keep going. I really enjoy sitting down with people and learning where they're from, what they did, and how they got to where they were. So if you love it, give me a good 5 stars. If you don't, give me 1 and I'll try harder.